So today we're going to do a pork loin roast with some roast potatoes and some steamed vegetables. It's not complicated in any way. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut up the potatoes, we'll steam this veg, and we'll put the meat in. So when you're doing the potatoes, cut them up quite small. Now this meat, this is 800 grams, and it says roughly 30 minutes for every 500 grams, so we're talking about 50 minutes. My oven's a bit crap, so it'll be about an hour, so that should be long enough to cut up to do the potatoes. So we will start, shift you out the way, chopping up our potatoes. I'm using a big knife, so I like to chop them like this. This gives you some nice little pieces. It also makes it a little bit easier to sort of arrange them when they're not so big. They'll cook through really nicely, and you should get some lovely soft roast potato. So cut through there. Now you can do it with a paring knife. I just find it easier with this thing, although it does stick, as you can see. I'm having a bit of difficulty pulling the blade out. One problem with a flat bladed knife rather than the ones that have the divots is that they do get a little bit of suction in things like potatoes. So we've cut our potatoes up and take our tray. If you're wondering why I always have these things around, they're silicone heat mats. They give a little bit of extra grip so what I'm working on doesn't move and I don't damage the bench. Now we're going to take the meat out. Getting out of these wonderful containers is always a bit of fun. So get your label off. Now once you've got the label off, get that out of the way. Cutting it out of this plastic can be a bit of a trial, but if you cut in just along the side like that, you should be able to peel that plastic back, and then it's a relatively mess-free extraction. And you put him down like that. Okay, now we've got him down, so that'll look better. Put a little bit of oil. This bottle is almost empty, but just a drizzle of oil around. This will just help the potatoes not to stick, because that can be quite frustrating. Then we take our little bits of potato and we arrange them around. If it was a larger roast, or you wanted to put them in a little bit earlier, you can whack bigger chunks of potato and cook them for longer. But as this is only going to be going for an hour-ish, I'm going to go with just some small cuts, and we just sprinkle them around, and that gives us our roast potatoes. I'll just put the other veggies onto steam, and I'll show you that in a second. It's a really simple steamer. It's an insert one in the pot. Nice and easy, anyone can use it. So I'll put this in the oven and I'll show you the steam. So here we have the veggies steaming. Now I fill it up so that the water is just over the bottom of the insert, about that far, and then off they go. And basically I will steam until I can poke into the carrot and the stem of the broccoli with a fork without any resistance. So just into that stem there, and a couple of pieces of carrot, and that will be it. So she's just out of the oven. We have our delicious meat and we have our potatoes. So we're going to grab some of them, chuck them up on the plate. You can see that they're that sort of stiff surface, but soft interior. Some of course will always stick, you can't help that. And they don't come off any easier hot or cold, so I tend to wait until they're cold, at least I don't burn my fingers on them. And grab some that. Okay, now we're going to just cut the meat up. So I'm just going to pop that out the way. I'm gonna lift this guy up and slide him over to the side. Put down our chopping board. Now I'm going to take the herbs that were sitting on the top off. Because this was a sort of pre-made, pre-cut thing, it already had that cover. And it's tied with this elastic string, so I'm just going to pop that off. Bang, bang, bang. And you'll see it slides its way out. And we're going to get that out of the way. That definitely ruins the meal if you bite down onto that. Now we're going to slice this open. And oh, and there we go. That's why it's important to check. Right down on top of it. Get him out of the way. And I've just noticed another one. So I should probably have counted them before I did this. Alright, let's get him out of the way. We can see that the meat is quite soft and that this herb coating is quite a mess with the elastic. So give it a slice. There we can see that it's cooked all the way through. I'll take 2 slices. Oh, one more thin one. There we go. I'll put the meat back over here on the tray to finish cooling. So we've got our 3 slices. And whack that up on the plate. Now we'll grab our veg. So let's put the plate here. Now, as you can see, hopefully it doesn't steam the camera up too much. We've got our nice hot beans. Now I turned these off for most of the cooking time. They only take 15-20 minutes and they will be cooked well and truly. With this, the broccoli is unfortunately a little bit falling apart. We've got our lovely green beans, we've got our soft carrots here, we've got some slightly falling apart broccoli. Now in this one I actually used a pre-cut thing from Coles, so you can get little bags, they're a couple of bucks, that have all the veggies and stuff cut up in them, and pre-cut beans. So I was being extremely lazy, and it works quite well. So there you go. That is roast pork, beans, broccoli. You've got yourself a bit of corn, some potatoes, and if I can get into this jar, haha, we'll add the last little bit, which is some applesauce. And there you go. I must admit I do like applesauce, so I will drown the little bugger in it. And that's it. That roast pork, steamed veg. Absolutely delicious. Thanks for coming along with me. I'll put it there so you can get a full view. Look at that. We've got our pork, our apple, a little bit of corn, beans, carrots, broccoli, and the roast potatoes. Absolutely delicious. You can dust that with a little bit of vegetable salt if you want, and a little bit of butter on the corn if that takes your fancy. Thanks very much.